Hello, Glen.
Hi.
Hey.
I saw you called when I was in heaven last night.
Oh, were you in the Moho discontinuity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking a look at my room.
Yeah. Well, you live in like a small room? Something?
I live in a basement.
Oh, is it a big basement? To walk around?
Half finished.
Oh, half finished. Oh. Yeah.
And the office is upstairs.
Mm. What happened to that where the Canadian Institute of Political Integrity was? That was the the garage up there? Or?
That was what?
The office for the institute. That was the garage. 'Cause I seen that in your newspaper. You had it seemed like a garage where you had the meetings.
Oh, the sign is on the garage.
Oh.
So that you can see it from the road.
Oh, okay. All right.
Not the institute in the garage.
Oh. Well, I tell you, Glenn, the more it's one thing when you hear when somebody listens to what you're saying with destruction of everything and thing on the surface and genetic and engineering, but it's another thing too when you actually read it being said in all of the mythologies.
Yeah. And
it's just like, wow, it really hits home when you when you see it.
Yeah. What have you been reading?
Like I was reading, I'm still reading the same book, Morals and Dogma. And in the book, he says, what did he say? He goes, he talks about, what was that damn thing? He talks about Odin, I think his name was. Yeah. Oops, I skipped it. He goes, Odin is said to have borne 12 names among the old Germans and to have had 114 names besides. He was the Apollo of the Scandinavians and is represented in the Voluspa as destined to slay the monstrous snake. Then the sun will be extinguished, the earth will be dissolved in the ocean, the stars lose their brightness, and all nature be destroyed in order that it may be renewed again. From the bosom of the waters a new world will emerge clad in verdure. Harvest will be seen to ripen where no seed was sown, and evil will disappear. And then later on they said the Hindus believed that Buddha descended on earth to raise all human beings up to the perfect state. He will ultimately succeed in all, himself included, be merged in unity. Vishnu is to judge the world at the last day. It is to be consumed by fire. The sun and moon are to lose their light, and the stars to fall, and a new heaven and earth to be created. The legend of the fall of the spirits, obscured and distorted, is preserved in the Hindu mythology, and their traditions acknowledged, and they revere the succession of the first ancestors of mankind, or the holy patriarchs of the primitive world under the name of the seven great Rishi, or sages of hoary antiquity, though they invested their history for cloud of fiction. But I thought I was interested when he mentioned Vishnu is going to judge the world and it's going to be all consumed by fire, and it's like everything you were saying.
Well, what else did you expect?
No, that's what I expected, but just like, it's just like when people say, no, I that's not possible, but it's like right there in black and white. Yeah.
By a person who should know.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you find out, because you said Phoenix was 484 years.
Yeah.
But I'm reading it, and Encyclopedia it says that it's a symbol of an ever-revolving solar cycle of 608 years. Yeah. What did you do to find out it was 484? Did you do
88.
Oh.
44 plus 8, 88.
Oh.
That's the target, the new slave's number is 88. The male is 8, and the female male is 88. And 16 is PH, HP.
Oh, so what's PT? What number is that?
PT is Peter. It's the pet.
Okay. Oh. Now,
PT basically means the T is transmission, transforming.
Yeah.
And the P is a number 6. You look at the shape of it.
Yeah, it's interchangeable.
So you're transforming a woman by giving male a home inside again, going back in time.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with Phoenix, you're dealing with close to 500 years is basically what they say. Like 608 is not close to 500. So the 16, which is the transition period, girls who come out debutantes have their coming out ceremony at 16. 16 plus 484 is 500. And since you have 16 at both ends, the transition period is really 32 years.
Did you make a post about that?
Yeah.
I want
Forget how long ago, but I did that.
Oh, I think I remember seeing it in the older post.
And I did it on Christopher Columbus. That Christopher Columbus arrived in North America in 1492. If you add 484 years and 32 years, you get 2008.
Did you learn that, like the numerology, from Barbara? Because I heard she's really good with the numerology.
No, I don't think she does numerology. I learned my numerology from a lady by the name of Atlanta Braley, who ran a group called Equilibrium.
Oh, I've heard you mention them. Oh. Weren't they like...
and her role was basically to get people to change their names so that it would add up to a more successful path in life. But I noticed that all the names she wanted men to have were number 8 total, and all the girls were number 6 total.
So how would having your name change your success in life?
Well, in her view, your name is like a chime that if it's properly balanced, numerically speaking, when you speak your name, the recipient hearing it either is offended or is enthralled by the sound of your name having the right balance. And that way you're more likely to get a job and be more successful in things. And my view was, no, it's not the sound of it. It's because the guy who's handing out the jobs is a Mason. and he knows that you're using a name that totals 8 or 6, then you're in on the scheme with him. So he's likely to give you a job. But my name and everything about me is a 7.
The altering.
She would say, no, you got to change your name, Glen. 7s are always alone. And I'd say, well, I like being alone. She'd say, but you would have money, you would have all kinds of things. I said, if I wanted money, it's easier to go to Jesus. You don't have to explain it to anybody.
Yeah.
So she and me got along well. We had our arguments, but her followers were always pissed off at me. How dare you talk back to Atlanta? I'd say, well, why am I here? And they'd say, well, because Atlanta invited you. And why did she invite me? Well, she said that you were the smartest guy in the world. Well, if Atlanta is telling you that I'm the smartest guy in the world, why are you arguing with me? If you believe in Atlanta, then shut up and listen.
Yeah.
We used to have all of these arguments, and her followers didn't like me because they thought that Atlanta wanted me to be her replacement one day because she was 75 or something. I kept telling her, I don't want any followers. Followers get in my way.
Yeah.
I want leaders.
Yeah.
People will go out and show the way, not follow.
Yeah. The ones who have, you want people who, I don't know, it's a messed up analogy. People who don't have an electric car, they have a...
a battery.
Yeah. Yeah. But, with the numerology, I understand it better than I did months ago.
Yeah.
Now I understand what you meant. You said that 6 was female, 7 and 8 was male, and 7 was the altering.
Yeah.
And then 9 was the image of 6 was made in the image of 6, and then they're going back to the 10. So what was 1 to 5? Because I know 5 was like...
1 is cosmetic. It's the light that says, look at me, like you're in danger on the highway, you put up a flare.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 1. It's
the light. Oh, okay. That's the one they want to go back to the
president, like the guy in charge of something out in public.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it.
Number 2 is the one that really makes the thing happen. He's the person in the background, the ox that really does the work. It's like an architect's out in front with his nice drawings, but in the background the engineer is doing all the work.
Mm.
And in the world of finance or business, you have a guy that's president, but the guy who does all the work is the guy with the money.
Yeah.
And he's number 2. And, then you have number 3, which is a half of a perfect slave. If you split an 8 down the middle, you get a 3.
Mm. Oh.
In appearance, in visual stuff. So a 3 is the one who can reverse the decisions that are made by 1 and 2. So the banker at the bank can say, sorry, I don't go along with that. But the number 4 is the most important. Number 4 is kind of over on the side, and like the secret societies and religion. It has an influence over and above everybody who's actually doing the work. It's like the peanut vendor at a ballpark. It's not playing the game per se, but it's making you feel good or not good. It's makes you feel good by bringing you peanuts or a beer or something. Then it makes you feel bad if it spills it on you. So that's more like the Neanderthal or the background. And 5 is I shouldn't say the Neanderthaler. I should say the Neanderthaler's helper, the Roma, who basically are behind everything. So it is in religion, it's in secret societies, it's in native societies. It creates guilt trips. Number 5 is the black cherry.
I thought 5 was male, because Leonardo da Vinci, or Michelangelo, I should say, had showed you the 5 with the man with his arms.
Male and a female are part of the same thing if you're in fact a hermaphrodite. So your hermaphrodite came before your female. It was a female on the outside with a male on the inside. So it's like a cherry, but it's also like the gadget that you have on a wharf where you hang your rope around to basically stay in port. So I guess one could call it the doorway. And a hermaphrodite is the doorway. So when you go to female and male, you've altered the situation. 6, 7, and 8. 9 is trying to make a better female out of gays, lesbians, cross-gender, and all the other attempts they made at trying to improve the female. And finally, they decided, no, we got to go backwards in time. So we got to start over again, going backwards. That's 10, and the final version will probably be 14. Or 15, 14 would suggest that it's a 5 again, a hermaphrodite again. But 15 suggests that it's more than just a hermaphrodite. The new 6 is basically a conglomerate of extra pieces. And those extra pieces is Neanderthalers included, the media is included, the communications device is included, the ability to be triphibian is included.
When they made the male, right? Male is basically a 2-in-1, right? Because when you look at the chromosome,
male came from a 2-in-1.
Oh, because when you look at the chromosome, like with a male, it's male-female.
Yeah, well, what you have in a male is an X with a broken leg. The female is X. And if you break one part of it, you get a Y.
Yeah. So the female is just XX. That's female. But male is female and male. So I don't know.
Out of female, but not a female.
Oh. That's like the remnants
it's
of...
like the feminine principle.
Mm-hmm.
Every New Ager wants you to find your feminine principle.
Yeah.
And I used to tell them to piss off. I got enough trouble being a male without trying to be a half male.
You've bumped into a lot of New Agers in your life?
Well, I went through that history of New Agers about 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And
what was that like?
I thought it was kind of stupid.
That's what I thought.
It was like half a story that didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know when I see them, it's like when I see like New Ages. Like I haven't met a lot around here. A lot of females are that influenced by like this New Age theology.
They keep saying, positive thinking and you got to feel good and forget the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Think of the good stuff. And
they got it backwards.
You're wasting your life. If you're gonna find good stuff, you got to get rid of the bad stuff first, or it's in the way all the time, like you guys.
I remember I was and I went into a New Age store with my friend because he wanted to buy something for his girlfriend, and because she was into the stuff, and I couldn't believe it. Like they sell rocks to people that's supposed to keep the energies in the place balanced. Like you keep switching it from pocket to pocket to stay balanced, and all these rituals.
One more rock, to put in their head.
Yeah. And they used to look at that like, wow, man, it's pretty crazy. But then it's the same crazy as like any other religion. It's the ritualistic type of thinking and superstitions. That's like that lady you said, Atlanta.
Yeah.
It seemed like she was kind of superstitious.
Well, she was living in a special circumstance. She had helped a guy who was doing what she was now doing at one time before, and she basically took over from him. But she was living in an area in which parents were fairly wealthy in Kelowna, and the kids all looked abused and were basically threatening to commit suicide. So they wanted the kid to have a chance in life outside of their family home because the kid didn't want to live there anymore. So they would pay Atlanta to basically mother these kids.
Oh.
So they grew up just like she was like a hen with a whole bunch of chicks following her all over. Ducks do that, they walk in a row.
Oh yeah, speaking of like the insect, I was looking at the insects, and I just got an encyclopedia, and it talks about the bees. I read a little bit on the bees and wasps and ants, but the bees was really, I think, the most interesting from all of them, from what I could see, were the ants, because the ants, they had they practiced slavery and they'd capture. They had military forces. They would go, some not all ants, but some would go into and look out other tribes, smaller ants, and capture the eggs, and then the eggs would be slaves. They would be doomed to slavery, and then they practice masonry and carpentry, and I'm like, whoa, this is all in religion.
Yeah. Ants are the basic animal of the earth.
Yeah.
If humans were to disappear tomorrow,
Yeah.
the Earth would still survive, but ants, no way, because there'd be nobody to clean up.
Yeah.
This Earth is designed to be self-cleansing, recycling, and the ants play the major part in that. And the other thing that plays a major part is volcanoes. You know, the stuff works its way down into the ground and makes it to the core and melts, and then gets thrown back out as new earth, cleansed of all its chemicals and whatever was put into it by human beings. So it takes a while, mind you, but over time, everything that is affecting the planet gets cleansed by the motion of going down and coming back up as lava.
Do you think that the planet could survive forever?
No, it can't.
It can't.
It's impossible. The sun's burning itself to death.
Yeah.
And when the sun has burned itself out, the planet cannot exist as is.
Yeah.
So in the interim period, there has to be a transfer that will occur away from Earth as the sun gets smaller. That means Venus is the next prospect, and finally Mercury. Although the conditions on Mercury may not be appropriate for.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mercury's like, can't even live there. How can anything, I guess, but, adaptation, like just from the little organisms, maybe millions of years from now, maybe. I'm thinking.
Right. But Mercury is symbolic of priesthoods. They are the closest to the sun, which basically means
the truth,
core of things. And of course the word curie in French means priest.
Oh yeah, curia. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's in Latin too, curia.
Yeah. And it has two parts. It has merde and curie. So shit and priest. Those are the two building blocks.
Corporalites.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
It.
That's interesting.
That's your real mother. It.
Yeah. So yeah, I see in this religion that they have when you really analyze it, like you see that all the followers of the religion kind of like the priesthood, they all emulate certain aspects of nature, but then you have the big what's his name? The big dog, God or whatever.
Yeah.
He actually tries to put on creation's shoes and be creation in a body and try to in a body form, I guess you could say, in an entity. And that he's really he has a lot of balls, man, doing that. Jumping because anybody, I think anybody with a functioning brain, if you read that and you see what he said, like these guys, they'll talk about nature and how, and they clearly they have an understanding of how things work and evolution and things, and then they'll just say, oh, God did it all. It's all God, and they just totally like contradict them.
It's all written on actual stuff that occurs, but it's the personalization of a process to make themselves look important. Anyways, I gotta go because it's supper time.
Oh, wow, that's early. Wow, you eat supper, that's early?
I eat supper anytime between 5:30 and 6:30.
Oh,
depending on what kind of a day is going on outside.
It's nice out there right now?
No, it rained until about 2 o'clock this afternoon.
It just stopped raining.
It just stopped raining, yeah.
Oh. All right.
Okay?
Okay.
Talk to you.
All right, bye.
Bye.